Stop hard coding or using placeholders in your .NET email templates. In this video, I'll show you the cleanest way to rebuild reusable HTML email templates using a strongly typed model so updating your emails doesn't turn into a nightmare. Here's an example of a hard-coded email, and I can't believe that some developers think this is acceptable. For starters, if you want to make even the smallest of changes, it becomes painful because it's all embedded inside C#. And there's no separation of concerns. You've got the business and presentation logic all rolled into one. And imagine if you had to PR this, it becomes unreadable. And this simply does not scale. Imagine trying to add multiple email templates to this. It becomes an unmanageable mess. This example shows us loading the email template from a HTML file and then replacing the placeholders with dynamic values. This is much better than hard-coding an email because the business and presentation logics are separate. But it still has its issues. For starters, there's no obvious way of how we can hide a certain section for certain users. And if you're using placeholders, you must remember to replace the placeholder. I've forgotten the number of times I've received an email only for the placeholder tags still in it. Loops are also very awkward. In this example, we're looping through all the items for an order. We must come up with a way of how we can support multiple items in this instance. And reusing the layout system for this is difficult. So hard coding is painful. Placeholders are better, but they can break easily and it doesn't scale. What we need is a real templating system. Razor Views is a strong candidate for this because we can pass in a strongly typed class as the model to populate the values. Now the things I like about this is the fact that it supports loops and you can also add a layout. That means that we can use the same layout for multiple email templates. However, Razor Views are designed to work with controllers, so returning the generated HTML as a string isn't going to be straightforward. We need a way around that. If you're looking to move away from controllers for your API development, my Minimal API course shows you how to build a full web API using clean architecture. It's had great feedback from other developers who've used it to better structure and maintain their APIs. There are also free preview videos available via the link in the description so you can explore the setup and decide if it's right for you. Either way, the next step is to use the Razor View engine to render views without relying on controllers. This is how the email template looks. We've got some information about the order, as well as information about the products and also the totals. And this is how you do it. So I've created this new method and it passes in the view name and the model as parameters. Now the view name is very important. You must include the correct location of the view, otherwise it won't render correctly and it will throw an exception. You must also create a new scope, particularly important if you're sending an email in a separate task. We then go ahead and create a new default HTTP context, and we're using config to populate some options in the email, like the origin. Now when you send an email with links, you must include the full link, and we're populating the host depending on where we want the links to go to. If we scroll down, we're using the Razor View engine to get the view. Now if it can't find it, it throws the exception, which is why it's important that you must include the correct path for the view you're trying to render. And then if we scroll down further, we're creating a new string writer and we're writing the generated HTML into that and then returning it as a string. We can now start to use it. So I'm using it here, passing in the service scope factory instance and also the location of the view. This corresponds to the view location down here. So we've got the order confirmation and it's expecting an order confirmation email DTO type. So we need to create a new instance for that and start populating the values. So we expect an ID of 1. We can set the order date to the time that it is now. And then this is the good thing about this. We can now add a loop. So for the items, it expects a list of the order confirmation email item DTO. We can start populating that. So we'll populate some items in here. We'll start off with a sports watch. So we need to populate the SKU for it. So we'll make something up for that. The name we can call as a sports watch with a quantity of 1 and a price of 65. We'll also add another item in there as well to show you that it's working. So we'll add a pull queue in there. It has a quantity of 2 and a price of 33. And then a couple of other things that we need to set. So we need to set the subtotal, which we'll set at 104.8. The shipping was set at 5.6. The tax at 27.6. And then the total at 138. Now a couple of things to note from the template. So it's passing in the model and we're using it like this to populate the values. We've also got this getOrigin method. What this is doing is it's using the HTTP request to generate the origin. If you remember, in the method, we're doing that through the config. The last thing I want to show you, which I think is really good, is the fact that we can now loop products. So this is going to support multiple items. If you're using this, you must replace add controllers with views to enable the Razor services in program.cs. If you want to add dynamic values in the layout, the best way of doing that is to set up a base class and then the model that you're using in the view inherits that. Here's how you do that. The order confirmation email DTO inherits the base email DTO. This overrides the title, which is set in base email DTO. To use it in the layout, we inherit the base class, and the good thing is that we can then just populate the property like that. For this to work, we must inherit the Razor page class and include the generic type with the same class. We must also override execute async. The title gets populated up here, so if we want to use the same layout for a different email template, we can do that, and as long as it inherits base email DTO, we can set a different title. We've set up this new template where we've updated the title to new order. We've done this by creating a new class which inherits base email DTO and overrides the title. We've created a new view which uses the same layout but has different content. This is then used by calling getEmailContentAsync, updating the view, and also updating the model that we pass into the view. This is a much better solution because you can use the same layout across multiple email templates and you can use a strongly typed model. If this is something that you want to include in your .NET application, there's a link to the code in the description. Now you might want to be generating other types like PDFs, and this video will show you how to do that. I'll see you over there.